So when you log into the Athena tracker, this will be your home screen. Now, at the minute, we are looking at the tracker from a dummy school, a training school that we use, and we are going to be looking at it today from the perspective of a year head and then a teacher. So the year head view will give you kind of a general view and an idea of what an admin might see on the Athena tracker, and then the teacher will be more specific to what your teachers in the school will be able to see and do on the tracker. So when you come into the Athena tracker, this will be the very first thing you see, and you'll notice straight off the color coding system. So the color coding system is based off of a student's potential against how they've performed in their exams. So green is when a student performs above their given potential, yellow is when a student performs in line with their potential, and orange indicates when a student has performed below their given potential for a subject. So the color coding is unique to each student and in each subject that they study. And how we obtain this color coding for the student is when they enter your school in first year, you will upload their CAF4 results to the tracker. Their results will then be plugged into our statistical model, which will match up the student's CAF4 results to a student in our database. Now, our database has over 300,000 students in it and over 14 million exam results from those students in it. It will match up their CAT scores to a student with similar CAT4 results or students, and it will match them up to how they've done in their subjects, and it will do the work in the background to give what their predicted score will be. Now, I'm just going to take the aptitude tests back off here. When you're looking at your students, if you wanted to see in more detail or if you wanted to see how their actual result plots against their potential result, you can click into this drop down button here beside the student's name, and it will bring up this graph for you. So in this graph, you will see that there are a couple of lines on it. The blue line is the student's actual result in the subject. So we can see here that Keir Charles has achieved 72% in his first year maths exam, 85 in his summer maths exam, and then 70 in his second year Christmas maths exam. The orange line then represents the student's given potential in that subject. So you can see that Keir's given potential for his first year Christmas was 66. And you'll also notice that the orange line isn't stagnant, that it does move with the student's results. So as the student achieves above their given potential, the orange line will move, the student's potential will move with what they've actually achieved. There won't be any dramatic shifts. The model does take into account that one good test or one bad test does not dramatically shift the student's potential. Instead, it'll take it in over time so that then coming up closer to fifth year and to sixth year, the student's potential will hopefully be more in line, as you can see up here, with what the student is actually achieving. On this home screen, you will be able to navigate through all different subjects that students study, and you'll be able to see how they've performed all the way from first year to fifth year. There are many other filters on this screen that you can use, that you can play around with and just narrow it down to what you want to look at. So if you wanted to look at students who are just performing in line with their potential, you can change to look at that, or to students who are performing below their potential. Again, there's a few different filters there that you can have a look at. There is a download button available on this screen and on almost every screen on the Athena tracker. And when you use this download button, it will download all the information that is present on your screen with the formatting or the filters that you have in place for it. So if you have narrowed it down to just look at your students who are above potential and you download it, it will just download these results for you with the color coding intact. If you wanted to look at a student in more detail, there are a couple of ways that you can do it. So there is the search bar up here if you have a specific student in mind, or by scrolling down here, if it's a student on this list as you're going through it, you can click on their name. And clicking on their name will bring up their dashboard. Now on the student's dashboard, you'll see that all the information that we have for the student is present here on it. In this left panel here, we have the student's most recent set of exam results. So for Noor here, we have her 5th year Christmas exams. And because Noor is a leaving cycle student, you'll see that we have her grade down here and her total CAO points she would have achieved if this had been her leaving cert, along with her marks translated into the H format or the O format, the leaving cert format. We also have the option of setting target grades, and I'll go through that with you in a second. And you also have the option of displaying what the student's expected grade is. And again, I will go through that with you at the end. In this right panel here, we again have a subject breakdown for the student. So it will show you whatever the student has done, how the student has performed in all their subjects across the board. Again, from first year up to present day. Using this, you can narrow it down. You can eliminate exams you mightn't want to see. If you want to focus in on just how the student performs in their summer or their Christmas exams, their junior cycle or their leaving cycle, you can narrow it down through there. Directly below it, you have got the aptitude testing section. And this is where you can store all the aptitude tests that you do with your students down here. So if you do the Peabody test, the NGRTs, My Future Choice, anything like that, you can store them in here with your CAT4s. Now the CAT4s are the only things at the minute that are taken into account with the statistical model, but it is a handy place to keep all of your items, all of the tests in place for them. And below that again, then we have a note section. So in the note section, you can use it for whatever you may like, and most schools use it for varying different reasons. It might be for if a student has missed a class due to an extracurricular activity, if they're playing basketball for the school, or if there is homework assigned or extra work needed for projects, if there's timekeeping issues, anything like that can all be put into here. It's whatever the school chooses to use it for. Now, with this as well, it's something very important to note that these notes are visible to all teachers that have this student or to anybody who has access to this student's dashboard. When it comes time for parent-teacher meetings, if there's notes in here that you want to show to the parents, or if you have a whole host of notes and everybody is using it and you want to narrow it down to just your own notes, it is possible to change this and narrow it down just to your own notes so you can just see them. Coming back up here to the top, like I mentioned earlier, you have the ability to set a student's targets. So by clicking into this, you are able to set targets for the student in all of their subjects or as a teacher just in that individual subject. And if you do set targets for your students, it will make this magenta line here appear across the graph for the student, showing them whether they are achieving their target. So like Noor here, target has been set for her for a H2 in her mathematics exam, and she is achieving that target. If you want to set targets for students in bulk, so if you want to set them for an entire class group, you can come up here to the exams section in your blue ribbon at the top. Once you click into that, you can go to the set students targets option, and through there you can select the cohort of students you want to set the targets for. This will bring you to a page where you can set the level and the target grade, and this will then upload these targets for all these students. So just going back to this page. When you are looking at leaving cert students, you might want to look back and see how they performed in previous exams. Over here. And you can see then what all their past exam results were in every subject. If you just want to have a look at all their subjects across the board, 1st to 5th year, you can leave the show current subjects only ticked. And then the two final buttons on this page Another handy tool, if you are doing parent-teacher meetings, teachers are lining up, or parents are lining up outside the door, you can narrow this down to have a look at just your fifth years, third years, depending on what your year groups that are assigned to you or classes are that are assigned to you. And you'll have your full list of students then that you can click into and navigate to the next dashboard quickly. You can then hide it. So if you're showing the parents a live view of the student's dashboard, they will not be able to see the other list of names. Now, again, if the internet is poor in your area, or if you do not want to show a parent the live dashboard, you have the option of downloading a PDF version of the student's full dashboard, where you can include all subjects, or you can narrow it down to specific subjects, with or without graphs, and you have a look at whichever, apologies, you can choose to have whatever year groups or exams that you are looking at. You can choose to include just your notes or all notes. And if you wanted to download it for multiple students, you can click into here for multiple students. Again, select your cohort and all the same options, but you do then have the option of splitting a PDF by student. So doing this will email you a zip file full of students' PDFs where they are all individual. So there's no fear of you clicking into one giant PDF, scrolling down too far and showing a parent to different students a set of exam results. Up here in the exam section, you might have noticed that there are two other options up here. So in the exam summary section, you have the option of looking at a set of exams. So if we have a look at maybe our first year's Irish exams and how they might have performed in their latest set of exams, which is Christmas, you can click into it. And clicking into it, you will then get an ordered list of how your students have performed, going from higher level to ordinary level, highest to lowest. You'll also have a breakdown then of the average and the median grade and how your students have performed, or how many students have actually sat this exam. You can filter again by potential or by level for it. You also have the expectation summary then, which is a great additional feature on the Athena tracker, and it kind of serves the main purpose of what the tracker was built for, and that is identifying when students need additional help or recognizing the help or recognizing how they have done so far. So with this, we can identify students that are below or in line with their given potential in 60 to 100% of their subjects. So if the student is studying 10 subjects, these are the students that will be below potential or in line with their potential in 6 or more. So you can see Amara here is studying 10 subjects. She is below potential in 4, in line with 2, and above potential in 4 as well. You can widen or narrow this field as much as you'd like to have a look at however wide a range of students you'd wish to look at. And then using this, you can identify if, let's say, a student here like Charlie Dixon, if he needs additional help, or Evan Monaghan, you can identify if there is an intervention needed, if he needs to be investigated, if there's something going on outside of school, or if he is simply attending too much sporting events, not present in enough classes. You can take notes of your meeting with him and you can mark it off. If there is a team of people in your school who perform these interventions, you can mark it off as investigated so that people aren't having the same conversation twice. In this note section, it is different from the note section that's present on the student's dashboard. This is private to only the people who have access, so year heads and admins and guidance counsellors. So only the people that have access to this page. It doesn't only serve for identifying students who are below or in line with their potential. You can change it then as well. So maybe around awards time of year, you might want to look at students who are performing above their potential in as many subjects as you'd like. So let's say we look at 80, you can then quickly identify that there are students like Carwin here who's performing above their potential in 9 out of the 10 subjects that they're studying. It can also be used then to identify when a student might be facing burnout, like Garrett Byrne here is performing again in line with 1 or over 9, and you can identify that to make sure that the student doesn't burn out and doesn't leave something on the table when it comes time for the actual big exams. Now, coming back to the home screen, we had a look at how things look from the subject point of view. You then also have the exam view for students. So again, you can change it to look at whatever set of exams you would like. You can have all your additional filters here on it, and you can narrow it down to look at whatever subjects you might want to look at, or you can leave them all in it. This will also then give you your column with the breakdown of the CAO points that the students would have achieved if this had been their leaving cert. You will get a breakdown of the points they would have got for this. Sorry, you get the average breakdown of the percentage they received in all their higher level subjects and all their ordinary level subjects if this class had studied some, and then their average across the board for what they've achieved in all their exams. Now we will have a quick look at what the tracker looks like from the perspective of a teacher. So again, a teacher will only be able to see the students that are assigned to them for the Athena tracker. So in the case of Peter Brown here, our dummy account, he is the French teacher for 2nd, 5th and 6th, and the home economics teacher for 2nd. So looking at our French 2nd class, if we click into some of one of our students here, you will see that the dashboard contains all the same information, but only for the subjects that the teacher is teaching. When you are a teacher, when a teacher comes to the tracker, they don't have to upload any exams for any of the students, but they do have the ability to upload in-class test results. So with the in-class test results, they will be color coded, but they will have a different color coding than your standard in-house summer or Christmas exams. They'll have this striping on them, and this would indicate that subject or this test hasn't been taken into account for the statistical model. So a teacher can do a test every other week or every week and upload it to the tracker. It won't be taken into account for the statistical model, but what it will do is it'll give the teacher an idea of how the student is progressing and how a student is dealing with a different topic inside in their subject. So whether it's grammar, essay writing, oral, it can all be recorded, and it can give a teacher an idea of where their students or an individual student may need additional help in their subject. So that is it, guys. That's the bulk of it. There are just a couple of other little things I'll show you. So when you come up here to your account, we do have a new feature here, which is the Help Center. And if you click into that, it'll bring you to a new section, which will have frequently asked questions and guides. Now, as admin users, you will have access to more in here. But if you do need something, or if you can't find an answer to something, there is this little blue chat box down here in the corner. And this little blue chat box is manned by us in the team at all times. There are no bots or anything in it. You can send us a message and we will get back to you. Or you can send us an email directly and we will answer your email then either. If you do have any feedback for something that you would like to see in here, please let us know and we will work and we will review your suggestion and see if it is something that we can add into it. So guys, I'm going to turn off the recording here now. We have a little bit of time if anybody does want to ask any questions.